It's been more than 3 years since my last romantic relationship. 3 years of being single. 3 years of no dates, no physical intimacy, no man in my orbit. Being in my 40s, people often expect there has to be someone in my life, someone special, someone who picks me up at the airport, holds my camera, and fixes things around the house. Well, there isn't. There's no boyfriend, no husband, no partner, not even an ex-husband, thank God. I've been building this unconventional life all on my own, and I love it. There's many stereotypes about single women my age. We're often seen as crazy cat ladies, spinsters, even witches. And I think there's a good reason for it. I think that's mainly because the society needs us as mothers, wives, sisters. The system needs us as the caretakers. Otherwise, it will literally collapse. Singlehood is not encouraged, and the price you pay is usually very high. Not just the mockery and being seen as an outcast, but literally, life usually costs more when you're single than if you're in a pair. We've all been taught that monogamous relationships are the answer to satisfy all our human needs, our physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. And yes, I agree. Living with a strong male who lifts your heavy load or comforts you when things don't go your way is definitely beneficial. But we all know that relationships are much more complicated than that. The truth is, often, even when you're with someone, we're still left alone to fend for ourselves. Having a partner does not automatically guarantee you love and support. Heck, we've all experienced how much frustration, disappointment, and heartbreak relationships can bring. After all, we're just human, and no one is perfect. Relationships are hard, messy, and even traumatic. But at the same time, they're the best catalyst for growth and change, if you're willing to see the lessons. But no matter the state of relationships, either thriving or doomed, they seem to be constantly on our mouth because it's a topic anyone can relate to. So in this video, I want to talk about my relationships, or better, the lack of. As I take you throughout my day, attempting many of the tasks that are usually seen as a man's domain, I want to talk about why I'm single, how I see relationships, why and how I'm tackling this rural life in Bulgaria alone. Does that mean I'm lonely? Well, for me, at least one thing is for sure. I'd rather spend the rest of my life living in solitude than go through another abusive relationship. I haven't closed myself off to love at all. In fact, I think I'm finally experienced enough to recognize true love and to be able to give love. And most importantly, I have learned to love myself on a whole new level, a level that doesn't allow anyone to manipulate, hurt, or mistreat me. It took a long time, but now I know I deserve better. Now I know we all deserve the purest love, and that doesn't always have to come from our partner. Sometimes that's our sibling, cat, or a best friend. Hey, good morning. Welcome back to sunny Bulgaria. Finally. It's been so cold the last few days, and it's May. I really didn't expect coming back from Morocco that I'm gonna be so cold here, and I'm gonna still have to make a fire pretty much almost every day. But I think now it finally starts to get a bit warmer. Just the earth needs to warm up. That's what I'm waiting for. So that I can be outside and enjoy the weather and work around the house,
Because the thing is, if it's cold or if it's rainy, I'm just inside the house all day in front of the laptop editing videos and watching YouTube and things like that, and it's just, yeah, it doesn't make me feel good if I do that for a long time. So I'm gonna take advantage of today. We're gonna do some things around the house. There's a few things I need to do on my car, and this grass is just getting bigger and bigger, and I need to figure out how I'm gonna cut it. Then later maybe we have a chat. Yeah, let's do it.
People often wonder if I'm lonely or bored because I'm out here doing everything alone. And I'm sure for a lot of people, solitude brings out a lot of discomfort. It did for me as well when I was living alone in the city. There was a period in my life where I would literally do anything just to be surrounded by people because being alone meant dwelling on my thoughts, and that never ended well. But the truth is, I've been a very independent person ever since I was a kid.
Okay, enough of laying around. Let's start with the first task, which will be to weed this garden patch and this path as well. I don't have to do this. Like, the owner didn't really give me any other obligations than to cut the grass. But if I want to live in a nice place, I have to do it myself. So I'm just gonna make sure that it's all nice and tidy and not overgrown.
At a very young age, I was allowed to travel alone to the big city and wander around. Sure, my parents thought I only went around the corner to my dance class, but I would go and explore the city, go to the movies, and even to restaurants all alone. Since then, I never felt awkward sitting alone at a bar, traveling solo, or even going to a party all by myself. I never needed that safety cushion that a friend, a partner, or a family member can provide. I found the confidence in myself to do it all on my own. In most occasions, you end up meeting people anyway, especially when you travel. As a single, you're just so much more approachable, and strangers would invite me to join them all the time. I loved that in my 20s and 30s, but now I seek and appreciate being a lone wolf more each day. I'm grateful for every moment of peace, quiet, and solitude. It's when I recharge. It happens way too often that people drain my energy, my already very low batteries. As a highly sensitive person, I have to protect myself and my limited reserve. So I'd rather be alone than in a bad company or with a person that sucks the life out of me, because that's exactly how it feels. I often find more beauty, love, and acceptance in nature than in most human interactions. I'm not saying I'd ever want to live without people, but nature doesn't judge. Nature doesn't disrespect. And it definitely doesn't cheat or lie.
So satisfying. I'm very pleased with this. I have a little bit more to go, but it's looking very nice.
But no matter how tragic or disappointed my romantic relationships may seem, I'm more than capable of nurturing loving ties with people around me. And here's the proof. My longest relationship is still going strong after 35 years. Yes, you heard that right. I met my best friend in the kindergarten. This is the person that knows me better than anyone. Definitely better than my parents. We've been through it all, and honestly, the way she stood beside me through the thickest of the thicks, no man was ever able to show so much attention, understanding, and care. She never ever wanted to change who I am, never for a single second judged me or ignored my needs. I don't remember a single fight or a misunderstanding in all 35 years. Sure, we had periods in our life when we drifted apart a bit, but it was only because I was living abroad for almost half of our friendship. Nonetheless, every time we get back together, it's like no time has passed at all, and our bond would just get stronger and stronger. She's the sister I never had, and just knowing she's in my life brings me so much peace and sense of belonging. I feel the luckiest person alive having a friend like that. So even if that's the only loving and thriving relationship I get to have on my bingo card, I'm more than happy to live with that.
I love making wraps. You can just put whatever you have available in a pan and then wrap it. It's so easy, so much more healthy than like getting pre-made, processed. Yeah, good. Dober appetit. Right. Let's have a little chat, shall we? While I'm having a break, a break from a break. So, I want to bring out a topic that I'm probably gonna be sorry that I did, but I receive a lot of comments about this whenever I post a video that like highlights that I'm doing all this alone. And it's relationships. It's why I'm doing this alone, why I don't have a partner. And I know that most people who comment have well intentions, have good intentions, and they just want me to be happy in a relationship. But the thing is, people who comment that don't know my backstory. They don't know why I'm doing this alone. They don't know my past and my relationships. And I don't want to go too deep into it. But let's just say that the few relationships I had in the past, some of which were quite toxic, made me realize a couple of things. First of all, I realized that women in most parts of the world, in our culture, are brought up believing that they are not complete unless they are in a relationship, preferably with a man. And we're also taught to believe that a partner, a husband, wife, whoever you decide to spend your life with or be in a relationship with, is supposed to make us happy. And I've been in relationships like that where I expected the other person to make me happy, and it didn't end well. And it took me a while to learn that it's not their responsibility, it's not your partner's, your husband's, your wife's responsibility to make you happy. It's your responsibility. It's every individual person's responsibility to preserve that peace, contentment, happiness, however you want to call it. And to expect that from someone else is really not fair and puts a lot of pressure on the relationship. And so after the last relationship that I had, when I started learning things about myself, about relationships, about happiness, about my mental health, I just, first of all, needed a lot of time to process, and I needed a lot of time to heal from what happened. And I'm still on that journey. Also, like, I just don't think it's fair to the person that with which I would be in a relationship if I'm not in a state, or if I'm not my best self. Like, how am I supposed to expect from the other person to be there for me and to do what's best for me and support me if I'm not in a place where I can do that for someone else. That's one aspect of it. And then another one is that just I haven't met anyone who you know who would spark my interest. I haven't met anyone that I would be like considering, oh, like if I'm with this person, my life would be better. My life is amazing, so whoever I let into my life now will have to align with my way of living. And I think when you are in this age group that I am now, it's, you know, harder and harder to meet someone, especially if you don't want someone with a lot of baggage, and if you want someone who is willing to work on themselves and their own healing path and journey. Because yeah, men are brought up in a completely opposite way of women, which is like to hide their emotions. So to find a man who is emotionally aware and is dealing with his emotions and is independent and all these things, it's not as easy as you might think at this age, or any age, I think. Yeah, I'm completely happy being on my own until I meet that kind of a person. And that's just it. And there's another thing also, like I tend to get very lost in the relationships, which I think it's again something that women are just brought up with, to like sacrifice themselves for the relationship or the family. And so a lot of the times when I would be in a relationship, I would just completely lose my sense of self and the things that I like to do and things that would make me happy, and that would end up in me being like very depressed. So again, like knowing these things now, being aware of them, I just know that until everything is, not until everything, because you can always work on more stuff and you can always do more for your healing or awareness and all of that. But yeah, until I'm in the right place with my mentality and emotions and traumas and all that, I just think like it doesn't make sense for me to be with anyone and then put that burden on them. It's just not fair. But yeah, if it happens, of course, I'm gonna be more than happy to welcome someone in my life. I mean, I'm gonna build up a community around, or that's my intention anyway. My big desire is to build a huge community of people around what I'm doing, and so I hope that I'm not gonna be alone. And even now, like, there's neighbors, there's, you know, when I want I can socialize. It's just that I prefer solitude for now, just because I need to like store my energy, and I'm very careful about how I use my energy. So yeah, that's like briefly 8-9 minutes of me jabbering. But yeah, having these guys makes me really not feel lonely at all. Like I felt more lonely when I lived in a city than now when I live here rurally, because I actually know my neighbors. So yeah, it's funny how that works out. I feel like, yeah, like, in a city you can feel much more isolated than here in Bulgaria, where in villages people still have this sense of community and want to help each other out. Which is why I really like being there, because Slovenia and a lot of the West have lost that already. Right? Yeah, enough of that. I have things to do. Okay, it's time for the second task. I have been putting this off just because I've never done this. And I mean, I watched the YouTube tutorial, so it looks easy, but let's see if it's really easy. I have to change a headlight on my car because it died. And I really don't want to bother anyone because I think it's an easy job. So I'm gonna try to do it by myself. Let's see. How do I take this off? Let's try first which light it is. I'm giving up after about an hour of trying to wiggle stuff around and reach the bulb. I cannot reach it. You have to disassemble like half of the light, otherwise you can't reach it. I can't reach it. I don't know. So I'm gonna have to go to a mechanic to change a bulb. I thought it would be so simple. But, well, at least I tried. And I filled all the liquids. It was very low on things, so that's good. But yeah, now there was another thing I wanted to do today, which was to check what's wrong with all the lawn mowers and lawn mowers and trimmers, because I have 3 and they're all broke and I need to cut grass. And I have a feeling I will have to find someone to fix that as well. I don't know if I can do it by myself. I want to, but I have to sometimes just admit that I don't have the appropriate skills and knowledge yet. This trimmer worked for exactly 4 days, and that's it. Yeah, the trimmer definitely died. Don't buy your tools from China. That's my advice. So now I'm gonna try manual again, which is also difficult, but you have to try and learn and do your best. I do this. Yeah. So it is sharp. I just don't know how to do it properly. can do it like this. But this has gone. So gone. I think this was enough of failed attempts for today. Sometimes you just have to admit defeat. But at least I tried. And I will try again. And I will try until the work is done, because it needs to be done. So that's just the reality. But might need some assistance with it. So let's see. Well, the sun is slowly setting. It's becoming colder, especially in the house. So I'm gonna go and make a fire. I think this is pretty much it for today. Now I'm just gonna go and edit videos. I think it was a successful day. I've done what I wanted to do, or at least tried to do. And I spent a lot of time outside today in the sun. So that's always very nice. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.